Hey,
Okay.
everybody. You are
Yeah.
watching and listening to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin, and I'm joined by a returning guest today. With us, we have Ulka Sasaki, who will
Hey,
be
yay.
fighting Yoshinori Horie
Hey.
at Rizin 30, Saitama Super Arena, September 19th. And this is not going to be a bantamweight. This will be at featherweight. So, Sasaki-san, we appreciate your time once again talking to us. Yoichigo Nagai shimasu.
お願いします。
So I guess the big question I have is going up to 145. How do you feel doing this? What was the decision that made you want to go back up to 145?
なんでまずフェザー級に上げるっていう決断を下したんですかね。で、今どんな感じですか、体調的には。
バンダムがやっぱりちょっときつくて、やっぱ落とすのが、減量幅も広いし、広いし、結構きつくて、で、フェザーに上げる選択したんですけど、まあ、やっぱり調子いいですね。ナチュラルに近い体重なんで、すごく動いてて、調子がいいですね。
Well, I made a decision to go up 145 because simply it was just having a hard time cutting to 135. And the range of cutting weight was just a little bit too much for me. It was just unhealthy. Now I'm at the much better weight class, which is closer to my natural weight. So when I move around in training, I just feel much better.
God, if I remember correct, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think near the beginning of your MMA career, you were competing at 145 or close to that. Is that correct?
シュートで初めは145フェザーでやってましたよね。
やってましたね。
何試合ぐらいやったんだっけ？
あれは5試合ですかね。5試合やったんですけど、あの時、通常体重67とか8なんですよ。
Well, yeah, to answer your question, yes, I did fight at 145, maybe first 5 pro fights in Shooto. But remember, back then, I didn't cut any weight. My walk around weight was like 147 or 148.
Oh, gotcha. So when it comes to being at 145, do you have to eat differently? Do you have to exercise and get into shape different? Is there anything within the training routine that you have to do differently?
どうですかね、145に上げるということになってから、食べ物とか、そのトレーニングの内容とか、そのまたバンタムとは違った時となんかあるんだったら、それをちょっとできれば教えていただきたいってことなんですか。
でも、怪我の時に、その顎の骨折してから怪我の期間が長かったんですけど、その時にやっぱりすごく大きくなったんで、体が。で、その時のままずっと継続してやってるんですけど、なんて言うんだろうな。まあ、体は本当に大きくなったんで、バンダムでやるのはちょっとね、体の負担考えたらだいぶきついんじゃないかなって、もう、今年で32になるんで、やっぱり長く MMA やりたいですし、まあ、そういった中でこの選択になりましたね。はい。
Well, actually, it's not really about eating or training. Remember, when I fought Kaya Sakura, broke my jaw. So that put me out of the training for quite a long time. So during that time, even though I came back, I couldn't spar and stuff like that. So I mainly focused on my physical strength, and that got me to the much bigger, physiques. And on top of that, I'm 32 years old right now. I wanted to have a long career as a fighter. So in terms of my health issues and damage to the body, I thought it was the right decision to make to go up to 145.
Gotcha. So let us talk about that fight. Yoshinori Horie, fighter in Pancreas, also fought in UFC. Had one fight, but then got cut for some reason, which is very unusual for most fighters. That's very rare. Did you were you two in the UFC at the same time when this happened? I'm trying to recall the timeline. I don't think you two were in this. Were you two in the no?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had any previous interaction with him before? Crossed paths with him?
どうですかね、堀江選手はほらパンクラスも出てて、UFC も出たじゃないですか。2試合でリリースされてますけども、まあ、あの時はもう、ウルカ君と現場で一緒になったことはなかったはずなんだけども、
そうですね。はい、なかったですね。
どうですかね、堀江選手となんか交わったりだとか、なんか機会あったことあります？
いや、一回もないですね。一回もないですね。はい。
Actually, I never have met him, so I never interacted with Mr. Horie at all.
What do you, have you watched any of his previous fights? If you have, what do you think of him as a fighter?
じゃあ彼の過去の映像とか試合の映像で見てると思うんですけども、どうですか、彼のその印象は。
まあ、一発ある選手で、まあなんか伝統派ですよね、動きが。うん。なんか、ステップよく使って、飛び込みで入ってって、右ストレートを当てて決めるっていう印象ですね。はい。
Well, my impression of Horie-san is that he has a one big shot, and his style is more close to traditional karate, which uses a lot of footworks and comes inside and nail that right straight punch. So that's my impression.
I know you mentioned at the press conference that you recently did get vaccinated. And that you felt at the time you felt under the weather. How are you feeling now? Have you recovered fully? Is it still just a little bit under the weather? How is your overall condition feeling right now?
どうですかね、記者会見はちょっとワクチン接種の副反応で欠席しましたけど、今の体調どうですか？まだ万全じゃない？それともちょっと
いや、でも、もう良くなって、でもワクチン結構きつかったっすね。2日、もう熱でダウンで全然もう動けなくて、で、それ明けてからもうなんかインフルエンザ明けみたいな感じで、だるさがすげえ残ってたんで、もうそうですね、明日で1週間なんですけども、全然万端。はい。
Well, actually, right after I got the second shot for a couple of days, I went through quite a high fever. So when I went through that, I still felt like I came out of a very heavy flu. So it was actually I got pretty sick. But tomorrow, it's been about a week since my second shot, and I'm feeling just fine. So I'm back to normal.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's very good to hear. So I'm curious to know. I want during the press conference, Horie. This is what I have as a translation of what he said. He did say you're a great fighter, but he said that he is much better than you, and that he plans to hit you over and over until you fall and hit you some more. I'm curious to know. Do you have any response to what Horie say?
記者会見の時に堀江選手が、ウルカ選手いい選手だと思うけど、自分の方が強いと、ね、殴って殴り倒すみたいなこと言ったと思うんですけども、そのことに関しては何か言いたいことあります？
いや、ちょっと正直ちょっとイライラしてるんで、いろいろ。もう全部なんかぶつけて、いや、逆にボッコボコにしてやろうかなってちょっと思ってます。はい。
Actually, I can't really reveal the true reason, but I'm feeling quite frustrated about this whole thing. So I'm actually thinking about beating him to the punches as well.
Gotcha. Well, that's interesting that you're saying that you want to be into the punches because I know you mostly as a grappler. Do you feel like you want to knock his head off in this fight? Do you want to approach this fight differently, or do you want to, do what you do that you're great at, and that's bring him to the ground and choke him out?
どうですかね、やっぱりウルカ選手の印象としてはグラップラーなんですけども、
はい。
今回はノックアウト狙うとか、
いや、もう両方狙ってますよね。まあ、言われて結構火ついたところもあるんで、もう唾液でも寝技でも全部、もうボッコボコに本当してやろうかなと思ってます。はい。
Actually, I'm willing to fight as a total fighter, both striking on the feet, both on the ground. I'm thinking about like pummeling him and punishing him on both departments.
Gotcha. I know you also said during the press conference that you don't think this is a fight between you and him, but a fight between yourself and with the fans. Can you just expand what you mean a little bit by that? I don't think you will literally mean that you're going to fight the fans. So I just want to clarify what you mean by that statement.
ルカさんのコメントが記者会見に呼ばれたときに、英語の本国では、なんか、不安との戦いでもありますみたいな言い方をされて、ちょっと理解できなかった部分があると思うんで、それってどういう意味だったか教えてくださいってこと。
やっぱ戦ってんのは相手だし自分なんですけど、やっぱりもうファンの人に見られてる以上はそのファンのなんていうんですかね、熱というかなんていうんですかね、期待以上のものを勝ち取らなきゃこっちはいけないんで、そことの勝負だなっていう感じです。
Well, this is what I meant. Of course, I'm fighting opponent Horie, and also I'm fighting myself mentally. But also, I have to deal with the heat and expectation from the fans. As a professional athlete, you have to deliver what they're expecting, right? So in that sense, I'm fighting against the audience in terms of I have to deliver what they're looking for me to achieve.
Gotcha. Now with this fight, you win this. 145 is a very interesting division in Rizin. Is there anybody that you have, any particular opponents that you particularly like next? Are you even thinking about that? But if you are, if you happen to have any opponents that you maybe after Horie, if you, feel free to name them if you have any.
じゃあ堀江選手に勝った後、次はいつ、どこで誰とやりたいかとかそういうのありますか？あったら教えていただけますか？
そうですね、ここで勝って、斉藤選手とかクレベ選手のぐらいのやっぱり位置でもうチャンピオンっていうか最前線ですけど、あたりとやっぱりやってしっかり勝ちたいなっていうのはありますね。はい。で、今回からフェザーじゃないですか。で、減量とかに今まで以上に気を使ってるはいるんですけど、 気を取られてないというか、ちゃんとその練習、自分の体のフィーリングにすごいマッチしてるんで、ちょっと今目指すところはドナルド・セラーニですね。いつでも。1週間後でもみたいな。
Here's what it is. If I'm going to win this one, and after that, I would like to fight top guys like a Kleber Koike or Mr. Saito, who is a champion. I want to be on that front line of featherweight. But also, I wanted to mention this that I'm fighting 145 now. Of course, I have to care about my weight cuts and stuff like that, but not as much as I used to, which means that I'm concentrating, emphasizing more on actual fighting more than anything else. So right now, I'm ready to take a fight on any short notices and do any kind of great money fights. So my goal is to become like a cowboy Cerrone. I will take a week notice offer and do a big fight.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Congratulations on that, on taking that with that mentality. What did you think of the Kleber Mikuru fight? What are your, if you happen to have seen it, and if you did, what were your impressions of both opponents?
クレベル選手の話を聞かれたんでちょっとですけど、クレベル選手対ミクル選手の試合ってどうでしたか？感想は。
見ました。まあ、なんか、ミクル選手が消極的だなっていう感じがしましたね。はい。
Actually, my impression was Mikuru was much less aggressive than when he used to. That was my impression.
When you say that he was less aggressive than he used to, do you think it was particularly because he was going up against somebody like Kleber, who, if you make one wrong move and then suddenly you see what happens, you get triangled by him? Do you think it was this fight specifically, or have you noticed that Mikuru seems to be, with his fights, is less and less aggressive?
どうなんですか？その消極的っていうのはクレベルみたいな一発でも間違えたらやられるっていうから消極的だったのか、それともやっぱり実力的にそろそろもう消極的になってきたのか、どういうふうに分析してますか？
いや、前者の方じゃないですかね。打撃に関して言ってやっぱ決めれる力がすごいあるんで、その速さもあるんで、もっと多分蹴ってったりとか、自分から作りに行って、で、潰していく。で、完全に寝技には付き合わないっていう作戦になるのかなと思ったんですけど、結構受け手に回ってたんで、クレベルに結構行かないとやられちゃいますよね。それね。
Well, I thought that Mikuru has a skill set to knock out people. Right? He has a good striking. He has strength. So I thought he was gonna take initiative and maybe throw more kicks and stuff like that. But he watched too much Kleber. If you want to beat that guy, you have to go aggressive. You have to go forward. Is how I feel.
Gotcha. So also, I wanted to ask as well, because you fought him, I believe, I think it may have been your last fight at bantamweight against Shintaro Ishiwatari, who did just retire. I'm curious to know if you have any thoughts or comments given his legacy in MMA about his retirement.
どうですかね、ウルカ選手もついこの前引退した市渡の選手が、これでバンタムの最後の試合の相手となったと思うんですけども、
はい、
引退に関しては今どういう、なんか。
いや、もう本当お疲れ様でしたと言いたいですね。もう本当に本心を言っていいですか？本心を言うならもう一回やりたかったんですけど、まあ、でも、本当にお疲れ様でしたって感じですね。はい。すごいたくさんね、いい試合、歴史に残るようなね、日本のジャパニーズ MMA の試合もいくつもしてきて、本当にお疲れ様でしたって感じです。はい。
All I can tell him is what a great career he had. I mean, he has so many historical fights in Japanese MMA. So I think I have nothing better praise for this guy. But if I have to tell you my one honest feeling, I want to do the rematch against him. I really did.
Well, maybe you could do a grappling match for super fight quintet, or Rizin never decides to do that. Maybe something like that.
まあどっかでクインテットかあたりで、じゃあグラップリングかなんかで。
はい。OK です。はい。
Also, I'm curious to know as well, because it's one of the fights that I think was the most memorable from the last show, Rizin 29. Another opponent that you faced, Takizawa. Actually, I apologize. He was your last opponent at bantamweight, not Ishitari. Yes. If you happen to have seen Takizawa Kenta versus Imanari, what did you think about that unique fight?
よく考えたらバンタムの最後の試合は滝沢選手相手なんだけど、
はい、
滝沢選手と今成選手の試合ってどう思いました？
いやー、なんすかね。なんて言ったらいいんですかね。なんだったんですかね、あれは。まあ、なんか、い MMA 見てる感じじゃなかったですけど、なんかまあ、あれはもうあれで面白かったですね。はい。
Well, I don't know how to describe that fight, but I don't feel like I was watching an MMA fight. But in that fight itself, it was interesting.
逆に聞きたいですよね。どう思いましたあれ。
What do you think about that fight?
Oh, is he asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I thought you know what? During our review show, Charles, he said he compared Imanari to like Michael Myers or Jason, just the way because the way he was like stalking Takizawa. Takizawa was just literally like running away, like running in circles. It was like out of a horror movie. That's what Charles said. I think that's the best way to compare it.
フレディとあれ、なんかあれみたいだね。あれで。ファミリータイムの子がモハメッド・アリ対猪木2とか言ってたじゃん。One of the podcast guy who interviewed him said that that fight was like a Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki 2.
Oh, no, well, here's the problem. Well, I think that fight was just really a really bad fight because nobody was engaging. It was just a unique fight because we had one guy trying to engage, one guy running away,
Right.
and what was it when Imanari caught his leg? You heard the audience go crazy. You heard that they knew what could have happened. So I think it was a unique fight. Also because Imanari just also he's a little bit of a quirky, kind of like a quirky guy. So it was just funny just seeing his antics for that fight.
まあ、今成選手の見た目も面白いしさ、だけどあの試合に関しては、今成選手が攻めて、武田選手が逃げ回ってただけだから、その点ではちょっと猪木とモハメッド・アリとはちょっと違うかなっていうだけど。
Actually, I'm curious to know, Sasaki-san, has that ever happened in a fight that you've had a lot of fights? Has that ever happened where you were trying to engage your opponent like that and he's just running away?
どうですか今までやった試合で、ちなみに一生懸命自分から攻めようとしたんだけど、相手がいなしたいとか逃げてばっかり耐えてっています。
いたかな。なんか、寝技に関して言ったらもう絶対背中向けないようなやつとかいたっすけど。
あ、いたね、あれ。
いましたよね。なんかマウント取って全然殴ってない、全然背中見せないやつとかいましたけど。
UFC のでしょ
そう。
いや、actually, I have to come up with one fight, which is wasn't running away or anything, but this guy, when I took him down, he was just refused to put his back on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, even though I was punching him and everything, he just was refused to go to the ground with me. And it was the guy who I fought in UFC Singapore.
Oh boy. I would have to look it up. I can't remember.
Filipino fighter, yeah.
そうだ。
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what Imanari is going through. You could empathize with that. Do you just curious to know also as well, what are you doing right now, like in between training? Have you gotten any new hobbies or are you doing anything anything that's going on, like any fun going on in your life?
どう練習とかその格闘技に関しては今どんなことをアクティビティやってますかって。
どんなことまあでもトータルっすよね。曜日によってトレーニングを間に入れて、で、練習とか、グラップリングやって、MMA の日も、スパーリングの日もあれば、グラップリングスパーの日もあるみたいな。
その練習以外に、格闘技の練習以外のことで、レイジゴとか
もうそうですね、レイジばっかっすね。それ言ったらレイジばっかっす。
ポップアップストアとか多い
な。そうですね、今週もやるし、まあ全部練習があるんで、全部ずっといるっていうのはできないですけど、あるとか、あとやっぱ撮影も入ったりとか。
Besides the training, I concentrate on promoting my own fashion brand, Lazy God. So I do like a lot of pop-up shops all over the place almost every week. It's not like I can be there all the time because I have to train. But also I do collaboration. I also have a photo shoots for the models and stuff like that. So besides the training, I'm putting pretty much my time on Lazy God.
Did you say you're doing the photos?
No, 写真って誰が撮ってんの？誰かカメラマンや撮ってんの？
カメラマンですね。はい。カメラマンの。
It's a photographer I hire.
Oh, gotcha. Because I did see on your Instagram that you were recently looking at a book titled Route 66, which is a very famous highway in the United States. I was wondering if you're planning to take a trip back to the United States and maybe do like a road trip through Route 66.
最近ルート66写真集あれそこロードトリップしたいのって、アメリカ
まあ行ってみたいですけど。
Yeah, I like to go there, but I'm not sure if I want to take a road trip, you know?
Okay. Well, listen, if ever you and Naoki Mizuki, and any of the Sarah people, if ever just get, have some vacation time, listen, it's a fun road trip to do. I highly recommend it.
あとすごい面白いんだって、それ。だからできれば、
え
水木ちゃんとかね、直樹君とかと一緒にみんなで行ってみたらっていう。
なんかドキュメンタリーとか結構出てるんですよね。
Yeah, I think there's a lot of documentaries and stuff out there, right? About the Route 66.
Oh yes, yeah, no, it's just like it's just if you want to take a road trip, it's I find it to be the simplest route. Route 66, you know where it goes, you know where it ends, you know where it starts. So it's that I've done it before. I think it's a lot of fun.
彼行ったことあるんだって、すごく面白い。
え
まっすぐでもうどこに行くかも分かるから、ぜひ、ということで。
あれニューヨークから近いですか？
Is that close to New York?
I think you have to go. It's not. I don't think it starts in New York. I'm trying to remember. It was a long time ago. I think it starts.
そうだよね。
I think. Yeah. No. I think route. I think it starts as I-95, or I think, and then goes into Route 66.
Okay.
So I believe it's.
94線から入ってったらすぐだって。だから。うん。
行こう。
He's gonna go.
Sasaki. Also, one more question I have is I know you kind of have adopted the name Ulka as your given name. I know it's technically not a nickname. Would you have you ever wanted an MMA Kakutoki nickname? And if so, what would you like to give yourself as a nickname?
佐々木ウルカっていう名前はもう今やウルカっていうのが名前になっちゃってて、どっちかというとアメリカでよくニックネームじゃないような気がするっていうんだよ。じゃあ佐々木ウルカにもう一つニックネームをなんかつけるとしたらなんか
急に言われても困るな。自分ででもつけるもんじゃないから、シュウさんに後でつけて
みんなでミーティングしないとね。
シュウさんにつけてもらう。
Well, that's a real abrupt. I can't really make decisions on something like that. That's something I have to talk to the managers and everybody. It's like a corporate meeting.
Okay, I got you. I'll let you two decide that whenever the time comes. But Sasaki-san, I just want to give you an opportunity to plug your sponsors, and as well social media, and as well if you have any last comments that you have for Horie-san in case he ever watches this video. Floor is yours.
じゃあ最後に堀江選手へのメッセージがあったら何かと、あとなんかちょっと言いたいスポンサーとかいましたら言ってください。
はい。とりあえず9月19日は埼玉スーパーアリーナ、堀江くんね、本当向こうも気合入ってるんで、俺もめちゃくちゃ気合入ってるし、本当にお互いボッコボコにしてやろうって気持ちが多分強いと思うんで、9月19日、何試合目か分かんないですけど、多分一番いい試合になると思うんですよね。僕の出来上がり具合も。なんで、すげえ楽しみにしてほしいですね。はい。
Alright, well, this is all about September 19th fight against Mr. Horie, and I'm sure he's pumped up for this, and I'm pumped up as well. And I think we're just gonna hit, to punish each other's. And it depends on how I condition myself, but I think this is going to be the best fights of that show. So just please look forward to the September 19th.
Yep, and everybody who wants to check that out, Rizin 30 will be September 19th, September 18th for us in the United States from the Saitama Super Arena, presumably on live now with English commentary. And you can see Ulka Sasaki make his Rizin featherweight debut against Yoshinori Horie. And Sasaki-san, we appreciate your time. We wish the best of luck in your fight. And at 145, a lot of exciting fights that can happen at that weight division with you. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,